Welcome to week 2 of our series that Jill's preparing to help us become God's harvesters. That is, people who God can use to share our faith and the true gospel with people who might be inquiring or concerned or interested because of the last few weeks. And while Jill will be introducing us to the woman at Samaria who had that amazing encounter with Jesus where he told her everything about her, and she wondered, can this be the Christ? And because of her testimony, many Samaritans believed. And she'll also be relating to Paul's conversion, so dramatic, so powerful, so dominant in the New Testament. But I want to introduce you to a rather more ordinary person. Perhaps like you, he seems to me a rather reluctant kind of witness, but nevertheless one that God has used amazingly. Recently in the newspaper I have on Saturday, there was a big advert on the back page, a whole page, no pictures, no glamour girls, no gorgeous scenes, just words. And the one that recurred every time, every sentence was pick. It was an advert to encourage people to apply to become those who would help the farmers harvest the crops they're growing, an absolutely necessary contribution to our nation's recovery from coronavirus. Pick. Pick when your muscles ache. Pick when the sun is burning on your back. Pick with the soil under your nails. Pick as a key worker, because what they need to do is absolutely vital for our country. And you, yes, you, being one of God's harvesters, is absolutely vital for his kingdom too. And so I want to introduce you to this man who had been blind, but who Jesus gave back his sight. And you'd think he'd be full of joy and bouncing about like the lame man at the gate. But no, he comes across as a rather dour and confused sort of person, a bit like I am very often. And I think he was probably someone with an inferiority complex. It's clear from the conversation that he'd always been looked down on. People had said, oh, what did his mum and dad get up to that he was born blind? Or I wonder what he's done to cause this to happen to him. And he'd had to spend all his life wandering about and begging for help, I guess. So he hadn't had a great life. But then he met Jesus, and Jesus did something amazing. He made some mud, put it on the man's eyes, and then told him to go to the pool of Siloam and wash, get rid of the mud. And when the man did that, he could see. He could see. It was amazing. He was healed from the blindness he'd had all his life because Jesus met him and changed him. But he didn't know everything. When he was quizzed by the Pharisees, he had to say, well, I don't know this and I don't know that. All I know is that he made some mud and put it on my eyes, and I can see now. He wasn't even that sure about who Jesus was. He didn't come out with a great affirmation that Jesus Christ is Lord. He didn't even say, well, maybe he's the Messiah. He didn't say, he's saved me. He's told me everything about me. He's wonderful. All he could say was, well, I think he must be a prophet. I can't see how he can be a sinner if God's using him like this. But his testimony was not magnificent. It was humdrum and ordinary. Yet he was a witness for God. And nothing could shake the truth of what he had experienced when he met with Jesus. And being a witness for Jesus doesn't mean we have to have something grandiose or dramatic to share with people. It means that we can tell other people honestly and as clearly as possible the difference that Jesus has made in our lives. Perhaps that he gave us a purpose for living. Perhaps that he made us feel we mattered, we were worth something. Perhaps that he's given us a Christian family to belong to who support us when the going gets tough. It doesn't have to be something incredibly amazing or even that positive for Jesus to be able to use us as his witnesses, as those who will help God reap the harvest that God can already see. And so here's this man. His parents kind of despised him and didn't want to acknowledge him. His neighbours were confused by him. But he kept on saying the truth that he had experienced about Jesus. And that's what I want you to be encouraged to do as well. You might be hesitant. You might be reluctant. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are prepared to share with others the bit about Jesus that you know. Maybe because you've experienced the transformation he works suddenly or over time. Maybe because you've discovered something about him through Sunday school, through parents, through friends, through the teaching in the church, through the songs that you sing. Just share with people what you know about Jesus. And what's worth reflecting on as we end is this. Yes, he was reluctant. Yes, he was a very ordinary guy. Yes, he probably had an inferiority complex and was a bit shy. But for 2,000 years, God has used his story, his testimony, his witness to bring others into life-changing encounters with Jesus. Because we read it in the gospel. And God can use your story too to bring others into a life-changing, eternally significant meeting with Jesus Christ. Like this man, be honest, be persistent, and be willing to go on meeting Jesus and learn even more. Let's pray that God will really use us ordinary people to bring others to meet with Jesus. Thank you, not just for listening, but for your willingness to share your story to help others find Jesus.